Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Trash Talking and Giving Back podcast. I'm Erin-Cofiell-Barker. This is my co-host, Joe Sinagra from Myers Waste and Recycle. Joe, it's been a wild and crazy few weeks here in Vermont. Very warm weather. We are definitely in the midst of summer, and I'm excited because today's guest is like someone who obviously has a year-round job, but I feel like the summer is like his time to shine.
Absolutely. Mr. Vermont. If we had an award, Mr. Vermont, I think our guest would be Mr. Vermont.
I like it. Well, we're going to tease people still then, I guess. They could read it, but that's all right. Yeah. Before we get to Anson Tebbetts, is who it is. How's your week? What's been going on?
Week's going well. And, this summer, it's the summer season, so people are traveling and I'm traveling more. And, we as a society have acknowledged that men and boys are gross compared to girls and women. And men and boys have different health standards than women and girls. But I have to tell you, recently I was on a plane and the no shoes to the plane bathroom might be the most grossest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I thought it was like a one-off, I'm on a discount airline, so, it's a discount airline. But then I go online and I look, and it really is a thing that a lot of people go to the bathroom on an airplane because you take your shoes off without shoes on.
Or socks? No shoes, no socks?
Well, some shoes, some socks. My wife doesn't go into my bathroom without shoes on, I think.
How old was this person you saw?
An adult, 40s, 50s. I mean, I don't know. I mean, more, not a kid, not like a 5-year-old, but
yeah. That's like, remember back in the day, the old school, wasn't there like a Britney Spears barefoot video of her doing something and it was like a whole to do? Yeah. I agree. I asked about the socks or not because I feel like, right, in the summertime, people usually have shoes that are probably easier to get on versus in the winter, maybe it's boots that are a pain in the butt and they just don't want to deal with it. But that is kind of a little icky.
Yeah, it's just totally threw me off, and it's the whole summer season. So it just turned my stomach, as they say.
Joe works in the trash industry, but he's a little bit of a germaphobe, is what we're gonna go with.
No, I'm not germaphobe. I just think it's gross that it's an airplane bathroom. I mean, we've all been in them.
Yep. It was a budget airline though, as you mentioned. So we might have to talk to Jeff about a little raise for you over there. So we can get you off the budget airline.
Exactly.
Too funny. All right. Well, today's guest is Anson Tebbetts, who is the Secretary of Agriculture, Food, and Markets for the state of Vermont. Let's bring Anson in. We're not going to ask him if he's ever walked barefoot to a bathroom, although I do happen to know. I mean, Anson grew up on a farm. So I'm sure he has had his fair share of, trudging through some not so fun ground going places out there on the farm.
Well, I think there's even a little bit of risk of even going to the bathroom on an airline, even getting to the bathroom with shoes on. You're taking a little bit of risk there, but that's a new one, Joe. And it's just amazing what people do on airlines now, right?
Exactly.
Well, it's great to be with you.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for joining us. Were we right? Is this kind of your busy time of the year? I mean, just your title alone, agriculture, food and markets, it's farmer market season, it's fair season, everything's going on, I feel like.
Yeah, we're right in the middle of it. We've got, peak farm stand season where people are visiting farm stands to maybe get their vegetables, maybe they get their corn, maybe get their steaks for the grill when they go home. We've got farmers markets all across the state of Vermont. That's in full swing. Most of them are on Saturdays, but there are others that are sprinkled throughout the week. So that's pretty exciting. And we got Fair and Field Day time is amongst us, and just tremendous amount of work being done in the field by our farmers. But it's been a fingers crossed as we speak today. It's been an okay summer. It's been certainly been warm and hot and humid during periods of the summer. But here we are, and looking forward to the rest of the summer and into fall.
Now, one of the great things about Vermont is all the field days going around. And, I really found I've been lucky enough. I think I've been to every regional or county field day in the state, and they're all so different. Addison County has a different, definitely a different taste and flair for Caledonia County and others. Maybe Anson, talk a little bit about some of the differences that Vermonters might see from going to, in the Kingdom and down south and places like that.
Yeah, they're really reflective of their community, or their county. Some are more heavily focused on agriculture, depending on what's happening. But I always think you can get a good judge of how the summer is going by going to a fair. Our last one is the World's Fair in Tunbridge, and that is in September. So some of those fall crops are coming in. The products are really amazing. But most of our fairs across the state and field days are heavily focused on agriculture. You got 4-Hers that are showing their cattle. They worked all summer long to get their animals all cleaned up and ready to be showed and judged. And there's been some improvements of some of the facilities over the years, particularly Caledonia County. I know you're really familiar with Caledonia County, Joe, because you went to school up that way, but they put in some really neat new buildings. Look at those giant pumpkins. Now, that's something that I've attempted to do, is grow a giant pumpkin, but have been unsuccessful so far. Working on the sunflower, which I think at least I have a shot of a big sunflower, but all great. And I encourage everyone to support your local fair or field day if you can. Great food, great entertainment, and just a real slice of Vermont and some nice entertainment, not without huge cost as well.
Now, one of the ones I like to tell people, because everybody knows about the big ones, but I always tell people, if you want to make a drive, a perfect place in Vermont that a lot of people don't go to enough, but the Bonneville Fair in southern Vermont is one of my most favorite field days of the year.
Yeah, those some of these are 1 or 2 day affairs. Some of them are 4 days. Addison County, I think, even go up to 5 to 6 days. And of course, the Champlain Valley is a lot longer, multiple days. And but they're all different, and they're all reflective of their community. There's some neat contests. You go into a floral hall at some of these places and you just see the incredible gardeners that we have, the people that are growing vegetables. And sometimes it's reflective of our weather conditions we've had over the years. Some of those really soggy summers we've had over the last couple of years, you can tell our gardens have paid the price. And even this year, we've had a lot of rain, and keeping up with the weeds has been a challenge for many of our gardeners.
Anson, I know you grew up in Cabot, right, on a farm. Where did your fair and field day history begin? Were you one of the 4-H kids out there with your animals?
Yeah, my calf's name was Alice, and Alice was a Jersey heifer, and we began at the Washington County field days. In the early days, Washington County rotated around, and I remember being in Waterbury Center, showing my calf there. I also went to Caledonia County. I have family that grew up in Lindenville, so I would spend time there. And eventually State Day, and then I did get Alice and I did get a chance to go down to the Big E in West Springfield, Massachusetts, to show her. So in the 4-H days, 4-H is a wonderful organization, been a part of my life for a long time. Right now, if someone's looking to get a calf, maybe they're not on a farm, there are farmers that will lease you an animal for the summer, and you can learn. And there's some really neat camps now, some dairy camps out there now where people can get close to the cows, and you can lease a calf or a heifer for the summer, and you can clean it, you can bathe it, you can lead it, you can take care of it, and then you can take it to a field day, which is pretty cool stuff, even if you don't have a farm, and you can do that through 4-H, run by UVM Extension.
Wow.
I love it. Oh, Alice. Anson's prized. I love it. All right, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was going to say, I talk a lot on the podcast about, I'm not the most outdoorsy person in the world, but one of the things I do love and really love about Vermont, even when I leave the state, is our farmers market. And, I find myself at 2 or 3 actually a week. Winooski's farmer market has really expanded over the years, and I've been getting some of my beef at the Winooski farmers market. Anson, maybe talk a little bit about you touched on a little bit, but these wonderful farmers markets that aren't just on Saturdays and Sundays. Last Thursday, I was in the islands for North Heroes farmers market.
Yeah, and there's a good place where you can keep track of them. the Organic Association of Vermont, the Northeast Farmers Association. They have a website, and there's the map right there. So it gives a list of all the times and the locations, and all of them are different, and they really are wonderful experiences for folks. And one of the great things about this is the money's going right back into the business or the farm. So you're buying directly from the farm, and it's just a wonderful way to give back, and those dollars are going right back to the farm. And again, many of these are weather dependent. We had some soggy Saturdays early on in the spring and summer here, so they really rely on their income, our farmers, throughout the summer to make sure there's a good attendance at these. I was at the Stowe one a couple weeks ago, and they have theirs on a Sunday afternoon. And it had, both Vermonts were present. The robust visitors were there enjoying it and enjoying the farmers market, and, bringing back food to their, probably to maybe their Airbnb or their hotel or their condo, or et cetera. And then there was a good local population there as well, buying produce, buying meat. There was entertainment, plenty of parking, plenty of places for folks to gather and meet and have a good time on a Sunday midday up in Stowe. But again, as you mentioned, Joe, many of them are not on Saturdays or the weekends, and you can enjoy them any day of the week. If you look at the map from NOFA, Vermont is the place where the map is, where people can really find out where they all are.
Well, and I love that it gives, the farmers an opportunity to, I'm sure, people who live near the farms, if they have a farm stand on site, people go there, but it gives them an opportunity to reach so many more people. And a lot of people, that's their Saturday morning or their Sunday morning or their Tuesday evening. It's nope, I got to go get my eggs for the week. I got to go get this for the week. Let's see what, vegetables are fresh at the farmer's market. And then that dictates what they have. And if there's one thing we've learned and we know about Vermonters is they love supporting local. But one thing about humans is they also enjoy convenience. And so I think it's great that these farmer markets, where you can find one pretty much probably any day of the week in different places, make it even easier for people to go and support, local people having businesses in our area.
Yeah, it's really a chance to support your local business or your local farmer. And we are right in the peak of farmers market season right now. And I have not had my first corn on the cob yet, but it's coming. And I don't know how deep you want to get into this, but how you like to cook your corn. And we probably could spend an entire trashy podcast talking about that. But I particularly like garlic butter on mine with salt and pepper and just steamed. I think that works for me. But some people like to roast it. Someone was telling me the other day they perfected the microwave.
Oh, my mom's a microwaver. We grill it sometimes. You ever do the grill?
My problem with grilling, I'm not a patient person. And you've got to be patient. It's like the smoker, I want to, you got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and slow cook it and whatever. I'm one of those that turns it on high and I expect it to be perfect in 45 minutes. So I love the grill. I love the taste of it and everything. But as far as me actually doing it, I'm more of the put it in some water, boil it, and then just smother it with. And the other question is, how do you use the butter? I mean, how do you? Do you just take a stick and just roll? Do you melt it? How do you do that? That's a whole nother podcast of you trashy folks.
So, Anson, I nominated you recently for best social media follow with a local newspaper. And I would advise anyone to go and follow Anson, because I learned so much from you, and your social media presence is second to none. The one thing that I want to learn more about that I didn't know about, and you had me at cheese, is the Vermont Cheese Festival. I have to admit, I'd never heard of it, and you had me at cheese.
Yeah, the Cheese Festival is coming up. It's coming back to Shelburne Farms. And this is one of the, sort of premier summer events. It often sells out, but I think it's the first week in August. And you can go to the Vermont Cheese Council website to find out all the details. But this is going to be all the cheesemakers throughout Vermont and the region coming together. There it is. Look at that. That looks like a nice piece of, that's got to be cheddar. It's got to be cheddar there. Isn't that wonderful? Mount Mansfield, that's up in Stowe. And they're at the farmer's market in Montpelier. The Mount Mansfield is there. There's a cave. If you ever get a chance to go into a cheese cave, it's pretty cool. That's one thing about my job. I continue to see. Oh yeah, there we go. There's some Holsteins. You know your dairy breeds. Do you know all your dairy breeds?
Oh, that would have been a fun game to play.
Okay, so let's. Can we do that right now? So name the 6 dairy. Well, it's only 6 of them.
6?
So 6 dairy breeds. But in a previous job of mine, when I hired people, I quizzed them on the dairy breeds if they were going to work in Vermont. And say, like, if Joe wanted to get into Linden, I would have asked him the 6 dairy breeds, and I don't know if I would have let him in if he didn't know. So,
well, let's
begin.
stress,
so, the one over my shoulder, that should be an easy one. One on my screen there, that should be pretty easy. What's that?
I know Holstein.
That's a Holstein.
I know Holstein.
That's a Holstein. So you've got one. So that's the Ben and Jerry's one. The Holstein produces a lot of milk, but does not produce as much cream. So we'll go with number 2. We'll go with the Jersey, which is a brown one. It's the classic sort of cow brown, and it's kind of a solid brown and different shades of brown. So that one produces a lot of cream, a lot of butter fat, makes good ice cream, all kinds of stuff. So that's 2. The ones over at Shelburne Farms, they're gray.
Okay.
They're gray. Yes, you almost said it. You said it.
No, well, I was going to say the only other one I can think of, and I don't even know if it's real, is a belted cow.
Well,
is that just what they look like?
There are belted Galloways, but they're not considered the dairy breed. So brown Swiss. So you see this right here? See my hair? It's gray.
Yeah.
That is actually brown Swiss. So if anyone got a paint company out there and they want to do it, a new color should be brown Swiss. And I see Joe's got a little brown Swiss in his life.
I actually had a hair appointment this morning and got rid of my brown Swiss.
So brown Swiss is number 3. Number 4 would be an Ashire or Ashir, which is a red and white one. And then Guernsey, which is sort of it's similar to an Ashir, but not as robust color red. And they're spotted with white. Stratford Creamery in Stratford, they're a milk company. They make ice cream. They have Guernseys. In some of the Hollywood movies, you would see the Guernsey cow being used. It's just a classic cow. And the one that no one ever gets with the 6 dairy breed is the milking shorthorn. Oh. And the milking shorthorn is a solid, it's kind of a dark red animal, and it kind of looks like the what's the red Devon on the Vermont flag. You see that little cow on the Vermont flag? It's kind of that color. So there you go. But the red can family, I think, probably would go with the milking shorthorn because it's really kind of a rusty red.
I was going to say, Anson, you talk about cows and everything, and there's some Vermont history. I'm one of 6 people that was inside the room when the most famous cow question might have been asked, which is how many teeth are on a cow. I was one of the 7 people that were inside the room when the question was asked, and now there's books written about that incident.
Former U.S. Senate candidate, right? Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
What's the answer?
Well, come on, Erin. You've been in Vermont long enough to even I know this one, and I was born in New York.
6? 8?
See?
Repeat the question again, Joe.
How many teats are on a cow?
7? 6? Is it even or odd?
Wow.
Come on, why should I know this?
Anson, she doubles her time at a local television station too, and as a local,
Anson never would have hired me. You wouldn't have hired me. I wouldn't have made the cut.
No, we would have hired you. We would have had sit down once in a while to go over a few things. That's all. So why don't we go with 4? Why don't we go with 4?
4.
But some cows get injured, and the proper answer would be 4, but sometimes, they get injured or it doesn't lactate out of one, so they could be a 3. Now, a goat has 2, and we have a lot of goats in Vermont now. We got some really impressive goat farms that are producing goat cheese and like that. But that was Fred Tuttle versus
Jack McMullen.
Yes.
And I in the radio studios of NPR or VPR. There was Jack and Fred and myself and
he didn't
John
know the
O'Brien.
answer, I'm assuming?
John O'Brien, who's now a state representative, who is managing Fred's race, and then the host of NPR.
Yeah, that's going back. Is that the 90s probably?
1998.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay. All good.
Long time ago.
I don't know how you remember these things and these years and.
Well,
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about it, but last year I got a phone call from somebody who was writing a book about Fred Title and that 1998 thing, and my name came up in it, and so we were reminiscing about the late 90s.
Fair. Joe, we're getting a little nudge here, wondering if you and I could have a milking contest. So we talked about how I worked at a TV station, and I did that Darren Aaron segment. And that was one that I always wanted to do. Was like Darren Aaron milks a cow.
Well, we should take this podcast on the road if that's possible. Maybe we can go out and we'll get some video and we'll take you over to. A good place to learn would be UVM at the UVM Spear Street Farm. They milk the cows over there 3 times a day, and they're all milked by the students as a club.
Oh, so those cows are used to. They're used to dealing with inexperienced people.
Well, a lot of those students have never worked on a farm in their lives, and they do a great job with a little bit of training, and they fall in love with those Holstein animals over there. But they're milked 3 times a day. I think 11 o'clock, 3:30, and then there's a late evening one as well. So they rotate with all the UVM students. Someone probably come right from the parties right to milking in the morning.
Considering I'm scared of raccoons, and I've never actually milked a cow, it would be an interesting afternoon.
Well, we can arrange that. We know we can do that. That would be fun.
That would be fun. Other things that are fun though, Anson, I know the Big E was something we wanted to chat about. I grew up in Connecticut. Sure. I think when I was younger, I had definitely gone to the Big E. I have family who owned a store that sold like lawnmowers and all of that kind of good stuff we often see at fairs. But tell us about Vermont's tie to the Big E.
Well, Vermont owns a building down there, believe it or not. The state of Vermont owns the Vermont building. It's on the Avenue of States. And here we are. There's some apple pie and cotton candy. And it's all very authentic Vermont with cheese and all really, nice products from Vermont. So it's a 17-day fair down to the Big E. Some people participate by bringing their animals down. We use it as a platform to promote Vermont, but we have companies that sell, and a lot of revenue comes through that Vermont building in late September to nudging right up against early October, and it's a New England affair. So you're right, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and each state has a building, and of course, Vermont's is the finest and the best, and everyone knows that. It's not disputed by anybody. And look at those donuts. Look at that. Ooh, there they go. Look at those. So cider donuts are there, and it's just a wonderful place. And we encourage everyone, if they get a chance, there is something called Vermont Day, which is the middle Saturday of the fair. Okay. And thousands of people will be going through the fair and visiting the Vermont building. And in 2029, the building will be 100 years old. So we're gearing up for that. It's a historic building, so we're trying to make some changes and get it all up and running and beautiful by the 100th anniversary, which is coming up in 2029, and we're almost half to 2025, so it's not too far away.
That's wonderful. In the trash business, weather plays such a huge part of what we do. Between when it's really hot, like we've had the last few weeks, it's a struggle for our guys, but then the severe storms play such a role in what we do, and I know it's a huge impact for both the state. Maybe talk about some of the stuff that we all see on the news and stuff, the impact weather has, but from the agricultural side, maybe talk about some of that.
Yeah, so we're still, we had the big events in 23 and 24, and we had another one up in the Kingdom, particularly near Lindenville this year again. We did not have any significant agriculture impact in this July's weather event, but in 23 and 24, it was significant. Millions of dollars was damaged there. You can see the fields flooded, so a lot of crops that were being grown for feeding animals, but we also had a lot of vegetable producers, and it was peak time where the crops were coming in. So those particular producers and farmers are still, the headlines have passed, but they're still living on that. And we continue to work on trying to get them some support. We are anticipating some federal support coming through the Farm Services Agency with a block grant to Vermont. It hasn't been finalized, but we're working with FSA out of Washington to get that. And hopefully we'll be able to get some more dollars so people can help recover from the damage that was done in 23 and 24. And you guys have been living it, and that the cleanup and all the debris and just the millions and millions of I don't know, do we calculate it in pounds or yards of debris that's been, whatever the measurement is. It's just astonishing that happened in 23 and 24. So still in the recovery stage, but farmers are doing their best to make the best of it.
Anson, before we let you go, is there anything we didn't ask you about, but also, or if not, is there anything that you find people are surprised to learn, right, about agriculture, food and markets in Vermont, or just some little tidbit that people often don't realize, or just kind of is, under talked about? Yeah,
I would say, in agriculture, there's something, when we touch your life every single day, like you go to work in the morning, maybe you have to pull in to gas up. Well, we inspect the gas pumps. So to make sure you're getting the proper amount of gas and so forth. Maybe it's the deli scales. We have entomology. So I know we've had an issue with ticks. So we're out collecting ticks and mosquito-borne illnesses. So we're doing that. We've got economic development. We've got folks working on water quality. We inspect meat. We inspect milk, both on the farm and in the plant. So a lot of it has to do with consumer assurance and making sure that things are running smoothly. But it's a great place to be. It's a great place to work, and I'm honored to work for the state of Vermont and a constituency that is helping us feed us, and that's the bottom line of all this. In the end, we are pretty lucky with the amount of food that we all have, and in Vermont, we're blessed with people who produce high quality food and drink. So, and you guys are a part of it. Any successful event needs proper disposal, right? We need facilities. We need you guys playing a part, and so everyone plays their part. And it's not always glamorous, but it keeps the function and keeps it going well. So we appreciate what you guys are all doing to support our farmers. And I know you are at some of our farmers, and I know you're at plenty of our events over the summer and winter. So it's great to see you all.
And we see the governor out talking about Vermont and serving us so well, but outside of the governor, Anson, you're the face. We see you every place. So thank you for everything you do. I can't imagine the schedule you keep up from still working a farm in Cabot, but at night I see you on social media at some event all over the state or out of the state promoting us. So I don't know how you do it, but thank you for everything you do for the state.
Well, thank you so much. It's just an honor, and I've got a wonderful job, and I got to tell you, I eat pretty well. I got it's not a cheese I haven't touched, or don't know about. So it's all pretty good. So everyone, we didn't talk about creamies, but we can do that. It's a whole separate podcast, right? Creamies.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely a fan of a good creamy, and that is absolutely could be a podcast, an entire podcast one time. So maybe what we'll do is we'll get this milking thing to happen.
Yeah.
Get some video of it, and then we can have you back on, and we can check out how the milking went and talk about creamies, because that all kind of just naturally.
All right. We're going to have a milking contest between you two, and we're going to document it, and then we're going to air it, and then maybe the winner will come up with a prize. I'll think of something.
Yeah. I like it.
Love it.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Thank you so much. As we just discussed, you are a very, very busy man. I'm not sure that you sleep, so we appreciate you taking a little bit of time to chat with us here on the podcast.
You bet. Thanks, care,
Anson.
Bye, Anson. Yeah, I'm not sure he sleeps.
No, it's just amazing. I've known Anson for a long time, and he's always been like this. And he's it's true, not because he was up with us, but he's a Vermont treasure. So we're lucky to have him.
I don't know if you caught this or not, but a couple of times he called us you trashy guys.
Trashy guys,
I'll take it. There's not many people I would say can call me trashy, but I'll take it.
Yeah, and it's a good segue into, trashy or not. So, this week's question is, and I have to preface it with, there are things that you should and shouldn't do, but sometimes it's not exactly trashy or not. So,
Yeah.
Trashy or not this week, not returning your shopping cart to the corral in the parking lot.
Trashy.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, I don't know, maybe someone else will park and this will be convenient for them. But then one time I saw a video of a person that was like in a wheelchair and they couldn't go down the sidewalk to get into the store because people had just like blocked it with them all. I've also seen the argument of like moms, like, right? Like, so how, like logistically, what am I supposed to do? Like put my kid in my car, but then leave my car running and open.
Right.
And bring that, like someone could steal my child. Like, what do I do? And so situationally, sure, there could be times where, it's harder to figure out. I do because of that. If I see like a mom with a kid and I am just out there, like will offer. One time it ended up okay, but I was at Hannaford unloading my cart and I like went to put something in the side and Ellie was sitting at the front and it just started rolling across the parking lot. And some woman stopped it for me and was like, oh my God. I was like, wow, thanks. Ellie was just like, this is great. But yeah, I think the logistics are hard, but I think you should just, come on, get the extra steps in and do the right thing.
I agree. And I'm sad that Anson left because I meant to ask him, he was talking about cows. Which cow does chocolate milk come from?
Chocolate? Oh, that's. We should have asked them that. Well, we'll ask them as we're milking. That actually was a really funny thing to be like, well, okay, wait. So this is where we just get like white milk from. Like, where do you get the chocolate milk from? I like it.
Absolutely.
All right. Seems like a good note to leave you all on. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Send us some comments, some questions for the Trash Talking and Giving Back podcast. Thank you again to Anson Tebbetts for joining us this week, and we will see you all another time.